The video begins with a first-person view as the player enters a dimly lit forest. The trees are tall, their branches twisted and gnarled, casting long shadows on the narrow path. The wind howls, carrying faint whispers that seem to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. You have been drawn here to the cursed woods of Ashgrove by a power beyond your understanding. The townsfolk spoke of a witch, long forgotten by time, whose whispers haunt these woods. They warned you, but you didn't listen. The player ventures deeper into the forest, the whispers growing louder, more insistent. The path splits into several directions, each more ominous than the last. The player must choose their path carefully. Along the way, they find strange symbols carved into the trees and remnants of old rituals, animal bones arranged in unnatural patterns, and candles that flicker despite the lack of wind. Centuries ago, a witch was hunted by the people of Ashgrove. They say she cursed the land with her dying breath, vowing to return and reclaim her power. Now, her spirit lingers, trapped between worlds, seeking vengeance on those who dare enter her domain. As the player explores, they begin to find clues about the witch's story. A journal from a long-dead hunter, pages from a grimoire, and cryptic messages scratched into the bark of trees. The more the player uncovers, the more the environment begins to change. The forest grows darker, the whispers become more coherent, and the player's vision blurs as reality warps around them. Suddenly, the player's screen flickers and they hear the sound of twigs snapping behind them. Turning around, they catch a glimpse of a shadow darting between the trees, just out of reach, just out of sight. You are marked now. The witch has taken notice of you. Her whispers will guide you to her lair, but beware, for once you enter, there is no escape. The player finally reaches a clearing in the heart of the forest. An ancient, decrepit cabin stands in the center, overgrown with vines and surrounded by a circle of stones. The whispers are deafening now, almost drowning out the player's own thoughts. The door to the cabin creaks open on its own, beckoning the player inside. Inside, the cabin is filled with relics of dark magic. Dried herbs hanging from the ceiling, jars filled with strange, unidentifiable substances, and a large, blood-stained altar at the center of the room. The air is thick with the stench of decay. The player must search the cabin, piecing together the final parts of the witch's story. As the player finds the last piece of the puzzle, a cursed amulet, they hear the door slam shut behind them. The whispers turn to screams as the screen begins to glitch and distort. The player's vision blurs, the walls of the cabin closing in. The witch's voice, now clear and menacing, echoes in the player's ears. "You are mine." The screen goes black. After a moment of silence, the player is returned to the forest, but everything is different. The trees are dead, the path is gone, and the whispers are silent. The only sound is the player's own footsteps, until they hear the faint, unmistakable sound of someone, or something, breathing, right behind them. The screen fades to black with a final message appearing. Some paths should never be walked. The video ends with the sounds of the forest and the witch's faint laughter echoing in the darkness.